think Tesla, blame Dieselgate, whatever the reason, the fact remains that the auto industry is finally taking electrification seriously. And Nissan has been doing it better and longer than most when it comes to electric vehicles. On sale since 2010, the Leaf is the world's best-selling EV. Now in its second generation, there's a long-range version in the works scheduled for 2019. There might also be a go-fast Leaf in the works. Nissan showed off a NISMO-badged version of the EV at the Tokyo Motor Show, and design chief Alfonso Albaisa told Autocar that a more muscular look ought to sell a few more cars. The previous Leaf's design wasn't popular with the majority of people, so its look couldn't contribute to sales. The new car is lower, wider and sportier, with the point of this design being to get greater accessibility of the market. It's not without precedent. Nissan will give pretty much anything the NISMO treatment, with surprisingly good results, and in the past, Japanese customers have been able to NISMOify their first-gen Leafs. That wasn't the only performance-focused EV news either. Nissan also revealed that it's going racing in Formula E, entering in the 5th season, which runs between 2018 and 2019. It will not be an all-new entry. Nissan will instead replace one of the existing OEMs in the series. There's some speculation that it could replace Renault, which has had a lot of Formula E success and which is also closely entwined with the Japanese automaker. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Nissan instead take the place of Faraday Future, which seems to be pulling back from its involvement in the sport as its troubles grow. Beyond all of that, Nissan's big reveal in Tokyo was the IMX, an electric autonomous concept. It's built on Nissan's new EV platform, and the car would use an advanced version of the self-driving tech that Nissan has just started testing on the streets of Tokyo. Nissan promises it would be pretty fun to drive, with 320 kilowatts and 700 Nm on tap, plus a battery that's redesigned and engineered for greater energy density. Finally, Nissan EVs will soon have their own distinctive sound. Called Kanto, it varies in tone and pitch if the car is accelerating, decelerating, or reversing. The danger of pedestrians being run over by now silent vehicles has some regulators worried, and countries are now requiring EVs to broadcast their arrival with some kind of sound. Here in the US, that system was supposed to go into effect this year, but the Trump administration may well purge the requirement from federal motor vehicle safety standards.
In the rush towards electric vehicles, automakers are increasingly sparing a thought for the humble delivery van, an often overlooked segment with big growth potential given tightening pollution restrictions in urban areas. Given lingering consumer concerns about cost and charging infrastructure, many in the industry expect it will take at least a decade for electric vehicles, EVs, to win over mainstream car owners. But as e-commerce begins to dominate the retail sector and cities clamp down on pollution, more vehicle makers see opportunities for faster take-up of EVs as delivery vehicles, taxis and other business uses in dense, urban areas. At the Tokyo Motor Show, which opened to the public on Friday, Nissan Motor Company, an early embracer of EV technology and maker of the Leaf, the world's top-selling electric car, unveiled a concept model of its ENV200 electric van with refrigeration capabilities, designed to transport chilled food to restaurants and homes. Imagine if you have city access challenges, how will you get food delivered to restaurants, and goods to customers? Said Ashwani Gupta, head of the light commercial business at the Automaking Alliance of Nissan and France's Renault SA. There's no other option but to go electric. Nissan plans to launch the refrigeration model in Japan next year, Gupta said. Both Nissan and Renault already market electric vans in Europe. Nissan is also looking to introduce the ENV200 series in China in the near term, as it expects demand will explode as big cities in the country effectively ban gasoline and diesel trucks and vans in an effort to crack down on emissions. At the moment, the country's electric light commercial vehicle market has yet to be tapped by major foreign automakers. Although Ford Motor Company wants to drive its truck-making China partner Jiangling Motors Corporation, JMC, more towards electric commercial vans. Mitsubishi Fuso Truck and Bus Corporation, majority owned by Germany's Daimler AG, has also begun selling its e-Canter electric light-duty truck in the United States, Europe and Japan, where it targets transport delivery services and convenience stores. As increases demand for e-commerce creates more work for delivery services, Toyota Auto Body, a wholly owned subsidiary of Toyota Motor Corporation, was thinking about the hairy delivery van driver when it designed its LCVD cargo concept model. "We set out to make the delivery truck more comfortable for drivers," said Ichiro Mukai, who worked on the model's design. In the past, home deliveries mainly centered around larger parcels, but recently, a big increase in the number of deliveries has come just as people are getting smaller parcels delivered, he said, adding that this had increased the workload of drivers. The model's futuristic design is based on Toyota's gasoline hybrid minivan models marketed in Japan, and can be adapted to operate as an all-battery electric. Removing the passenger seat entirely, the driver's seat configuration, which includes a retractable steering wheel and rounded seat corners, is designed to enable drivers to get in and out of the vehicle more quickly and easily. A removable tablet device in the center of the steering wheel enables drivers to easily locate parcels in the hold, where track shelving units and a wider door opening allows for easy access to parcels from outside the vehicle.
The Nissan Leaf is a pioneer. Since its release in 2010, Nissan has sold more than 280,000 worldwide, making the Leaf the best-selling electric vehicle on the planet. However, 2010 is a long time ago, so now, Nissan has released a new Leaf, with a claimed 243 miles of range from a single charge, up from the old car's official 155 miles. That's not the only thing that's changed. Nissan has also given the Leaf a new look, deliberately making it more broadly appealing and less kooky than the divisive outgoing model. This, along with a raft of other improvements, will help it maintain its position at the top of the EV sales charts. The previous Leaf was a global car, meaning it went largely unchanged from country to country. That's good for Nissan's profits but bad for Leaf drivers in the UK, because we typically prefer more luxurious cars than the Japanese market, with higher quality materials inside. Here, we are trying it in Japanese market specification. The original Leaf was soft riding and not all that much fun to drive. The new version is different from the off. It smooths out bumps well for the most part, but overall it feels firmer than before, and Nissan plans to further stiffen the suspension for European buyers. We'd argue that this isn't necessary. We enjoyed the instant power of the original Leaf, a characteristic of all electric vehicles. It's even more noticeable in the new car, with a torque boost of around a quarter to 236 pounds-ft. The electric motor produces 148 bhp and is powered by a higher capacity, 40 kWh battery pack, rather than the earlier car's 30 kWh unit. Braking is very different in the new Leaf. A new e-pedal is at the forefront of Nissan's innovations. Take your foot off the accelerator and the car gently regenerates electricity. Or, what should be gently? It's a bit forceful on the regenerative braking, so passengers will bob their heads from the deceleration. It's an intuitive system, though. It'll slow you gradually to a halt, on flat roads or hills, and will slow the car to a stop, unless the accelerator is pressed again. It also holds the car in place when stopped, rather than creeping the car forward. Nissan believes that the e-pedal could cut down on around 90% of regular braking done by the driver. Noise is rarely an issue for electric cars, but remarkably, Nissan has made the Leaf even quieter than before. True, You notice road noise more as a result, but it's never in any way loud or intrusive. As before, the Leaf isn't much fun to drive. The Leaf's initial squirt of acceleration is about as exciting as it gets. There's no feeling to the steering, and it's a bit indirect. Nissan says its steering will be made quicker for the UK market, taking around 2 turns lock to lock, rather than 3 turns for Japanese cars. Whether that makes it more fun to drive is yet to be seen. A key point of the new Leaf is its propulsion system, which, when selected, can control the car's acceleration, steering and braking, providing you stay in one lane. You need to keep your hands on the steering wheel when using the system, and, of course, your eyes on the road. It's as easy to use as adaptive cruise control. Just press the propulsion button, set the speed you'd like the system to default to when there's no car in front of you, and it'll stick to it, or maintain the same speed as and distance from the car in front, when there is one. A beep a few seconds later, and an icon on the instrument cluster appears, signifies that the car is now able to steer itself. Also new to the car is Propulsion Park, a self-parking system that, according to Nissan, beats all other, more clumsy systems that have come before it. It's controlled from the infotainment screen, which shows a bird's-eye view of the car and highlights parking spaces available. Hold down the Propulsion Park button on the center console and the car will park itself, controlling steering, acceleration, braking and gear selection. Let go of the button, say, if a pedestrian ambles into the path of the car, and it'll pause instantly, resuming when the button is held down again. A particularly impressive function of the system is its ability to let you select a space when there are no marked bays, guided by a box that can be moved by the driver to highlight the gap into which the car will then maneuver. The interior we sampled is another area that's due to change before the Leaf reaches the UK. The dashboard, which is made from an expensive-feeling plastic, will be replaced by a unit more similar to that of the Micra, so a little more color and a lot more plush material will be used, Nissan says. As it is, though, the dashboard is uncluttered, with a sensible amount of buttons that are clearly laid out. However, areas such as the door cards could use a little more rigidity. They flex slightly when you pull the door shut. Clearly, as one of the things you touch the most regularly, and with the most force, that needs addressing. The less rakish exterior and more conventional hatchback shape means that practicality should take a boost over the first-generation Leaf, and headroom is certainly not an issue for 4 adults. Even long-bodied 6-footers will fit comfortably in the front, and reasonably in the back too. If there's one complaint to be made about the interior, it's the driving position, which is slightly too high in relation to the height of the top of the shallow angled windscreen. It makes the cabin feel less spacious than it is. If the seat could be lowered just a little more, taller drivers wouldn't feel so claustrophobic. Ahead of the car's UK launch, Nissan hasn't confirmed specs, but it's likely that the new Leaf will follow the same trim levels as the rest of the Nissan range, with Vizia and Alcenta making up the lower models and Tecna's the premium offering. Nissan insists that pricing will remain the same. That's a good thing, because one of the previous Leaf's weaknesses was its price. So, what is essentially a price cut, given the likelihood of extra tech and plushness, sweetens the deal, especially when considering the ever-increasing running costs of petrol and diesel cars. Overall, it's a thorough and convincing update to an EV that has slipped down the class as better rivals have joined it. In its tested, Japanese spec form, it's a capable car. If the changes promised by Nissan have the right effects, it'll be a serious contender for class honors.